Daniel.
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 Hey, Daniel.
Daniel, where art thou?
Hey, anyone seen Daniel?
Come here, Daniel.
No. Hey.
Come here, Daniel. Come here.
Hey.
Come here. Come here, boy.
Wow. Nope, I'm out.
Hey, you should know from last week there's a penalty.
I hope he doesn't watch this intro.
There is always a penalty.
for being absent. Well.
Yeah, for being sick. All right. Which he's always sick. All right. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding.
You're
gotta
sick.
make fun of him.
You are sick.
Big point apple head. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm Darren with Arbitrage Trade, and this is After the Bell. It is Wednesday, and basically it was NVIDIA Day. My guests are Daniel Hopwood, ex-institution. No, he's not. He's gone.
Yeah, we just went over this.
Okay. My guest is not Daniel Hopwood, but we do have the banker, Josh Morgan, JP. Yeah. And then we've got our founder, Royce Wells, who is the guru of all things good. And I just gave you a big thing. Almost put you in Gandhi status, I guess. I'm the resident retail investor who likes to throw poo at a lot of things that he doesn't like. So that means I'm throwing it all the time. We are not financial advisors, and this is not financial advice. This information is surely for educational and entertainment purposes. And please always consult a investment professional before making any financial decisions. We just basically tell you what we do, and if you like it, then hey, you're welcome. But we're not telling you to do it; it's all your choice. But you can throw poo. I'll give you permission for that. I am a professional and licensed poo thrower. All right, so we're gonna move on. So, like I said, it was NVIDIA Day. Basically, a big nothing burger at this point. I don't know if they've read the earnings call yet or what the notes were, but everything has kind of just stayed right there within the even to half a point down afterwards. So really nothing. I could have kind of predicted that, which I'll get there in a minute. Yeah, there's theories. I never have theories. So what did happen though, not too long ago was for some reason our administration said, hey, here's some long-range missiles for you to throw into Russia. And evidently we did that, and now we're waiting on what's going to happen next. So I think they've played with the whole Gaza war thing with the markets, back and forth, reactionary here, there. It's almost like it was planned.
Oh, no.
And now we've got the Russia-Ukraine situation that could be blowing up. Sorry to use that. And which
that's bad pun.
But this one's bigger. I mean, this one could technically get everybody, because you got North Koreans coming to fight with the Russians, then they want their land back that Ukraine's already taken, and then people are saying they're going to use that. Wow.
All right.
Everybody just popped out, and you know what? They must be hearing us again. What is this every week? We're back. We're waiting. Come on.
Are you good?
Please.
Okay.
Please, guys, give me everybody back. I don't think it's Daniel. I think the wherever like if we're using Google, there we're all back now. Yay. I think we got like the big powers to be, the world leaders that are unnamed.
Hey, this isn't Netflix. This isn't that prize fight.
Wow. Are they saying I should be careful what I say? Remember, this is entertainment only, guys. Don't take it seriously. So what was I saying? That this all could lead to a big World War III. And if that happens, then
yay.
I was going to say, and if that happens, then I guess the stocks will go up. That's what happens, no matter what.
Well, if you go to war before the inauguration, the current president stays president, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that could be in the works. Could be in the works. Yeah. Well, they do. What do they call it when you bring the National Guard out? What's it called?
Yeah, martial law. And
thank you, martial law. That happens, and then in wartime. And boy, if you do martial law and put everybody in their place,
if they tried to do that now, oh my God, the riots.
They did do it. It was called COVID-19. Well, we're doing it shut down now. But that was like I think a precursor. Hey, this is what it'll feel like when we actually really shut you down. All right, conspiracy hat, take it back off. All right. So
That tin
What
hat
did-
is so shiny this morning. To
What did happen though in response to that is gold popped and people running to safety. So and you know Warren Buffett already did. Everything's in cash now. So
Sure it
we'll
is.
see.
You believe
We'll
that
see
guy
where he
too?
where he deploys that. So really that whole thing, and I think if Daniel had been here, he was going to say something about, well, there's my white swan. No, that's my black swan. The white swan is someone that comes and saves your position. The black swan is one that will destroy your position. So we'll see. We will see what happens. What's funny though, with AMC and those other meme stocks, if you will, is a black swan might turn the whole markets into a white swan. We'll see. Where you don't have time to get into that, into those deep theories, or not so deep.
I have.
All right,
so
let's
much
move
to
on.
say, but I won't.
I know you did. I was just lofting all these at the net for you. But let's move on. I mean, that was basically just a recap of the markets right now. Everything else also was kind of flat. The three indices were kind of flat. So we'll see. To me, it's what happens Monday, because it's already set tomorrow with options, and everything will happen the way it's been already written. Let's go on to, as in literally written in the options, right options. All right. Okay. Let's move on. I don't know if you heard about this, Royce. Amazon Haul. Have you heard of Amazon Haul? It's a new thing.
I have not. Home.
Okay. Haul, Haul, like U-Haul.
Nope. Nope.
It is basically Amazon's response to Temu and Shein. And if you go to it, it's a beta that's out there. I've already looked at it and seen basically the same thing you would see in a Temu. And of course, I don't shop either one, so I had to go just kind of play around with it a little bit. But if you go to Amazon Shopping and then if you like in the search thing, put U-Haul, or not U-Haul, but Amazon Haul, it'll pop up as the beta. And it's basically things that are under $20. And yes, it comes from China.
Oh,
and so it's basically to get to divert all of the diversionary that was happening, but try to make it come to Amazon now. So what do you think is going to happen there? I mean, competition's always good.
Always.
Yeah, always. And that's what we like here in the good old US of A. We like capital markets. We like supply and demand. We like competition to try to keep prices down. So what do you project will happen here, Royce, with 3 players now, especially going into Christmas?
Well, as it is, Amazon, like I said, they're there from A to Z. Basically, why would you let these little guys get in there and try to steal your market share? It's like, I can outbuy them. Literally throw everything we have at them, shut them down.
Yeah, but you can plan it to where you can pump a market so that when you wait till after they've had their fun and then you come in with your U-Haul, oh, we have another reason to pump.
Well, no, not necessarily a reason to pump, but a reason to basically, it's sort of like those guys that basically came in and tried to undercut taxis and Ubers and all it. Basically, if you can drive your competition out of business, then you can raise your prices. So,
right,
drive them out and raise your prices. It's hey, this is monopoly all over again.
Yeah, but will it turn into M&A? Which means that it'll Amazon will end up buying one or the other or both. Who knows?
Why?
Yes,
they're not going to buy like a Shein or a Temu.
No way.
No,
because usually we're talking about the same shoppers probably, so there's no need to pull out them just to get their shoppers. Yeah,
it's them using their existing platform to just compete and compete with Shein and Temu, like specifically. Maybe Alibaba, you can throw that into the mix, but
yep,
I agree.
It's kind of, it's interesting how they have it essentially separate from Amazon. Like you can still use it through the Amazon app, but it's considered a separate entity, so to speak.
Yeah.
But you don't get any Prime benefits. Like Prime does not benefit it, and it does not benefit Prime in any way that I can tell. And it's still in beta. So kind of trying to dig into what this is and how it really works is kind of difficult because there's only surface level data that's out there. But there's certain restrictions similar to like what Temu has, where you can't mix and match. Amazon is allowing you to mix and match some things. You're still going to have to pay. You don't get orders over I think it was like $25, something like that. You're going to have to pay shipping. It's just the one thing.
25. 25 is the cutoff. You gotta pay 25 to be free. Yeah.
Okay. And then they've got, like restrictions on how long you can return things. But the one thing that Amazon, and really one of their biggest selling points, in my opinion, going forward, is going to be that they still offer a relatively lax return policy rather than shipping something all the way back to China on your own dime. Like you can go the same way you can with all other Prime stuff. You can go to like a Kohl's or a Whole Foods or something like that and return that $3 thing that you bought from China 6 months ago that just now showed up. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can. It has that's one of their biggest advantages that is really going to pull consumers away from the Shein and Temu's. But they tightened up some of their return policies because you can only return things like within the first 15 days, as opposed to, I think it's like 30 or 60, depending on the item on Amazon right now. And then that train of thought derailed. That's awesome. So it's just it's going to be interesting to see how this works out, because they do have obviously that footprint, being Amazon, being a national brand, being really kind of our Walmart online, so to speak. And but it's going to be interesting to see how they actually play this out, because the one thing I'm concerned about is, are they like storing these things locally? Is it like their own warehouse distribution, or are they just doing the same exact thing and they're just shipping all this junk from China? And so then is that why you're getting the 2 to 3 weeks shipping delays and things like that?
Something else to consider. Have you heard about the Amazon boxes? Like you get mystery boxes. You buy the pallet full, and who knows what's in there. You pay like $2.50 for a pallet, and whatever you get, you get.
I actually used to know somebody that ran a warehouse that did like those random boxes. Like they would just do like an Amazon overstock kind of thing. And yeah, they'd get whatever random stuff they could find. And honestly, I kind of lost touch with them, but back 10 years ago, they were making a killing buying all this crap from Amazon warehouse and the returns and stuff like that, and just reselling it in a local distribution center.
See, that's how Amazon, I think, is going to be able to leverage stuff that they already have, things that are already basically just stocking up, piling up. Okay, it's overstocked. Send it to Amazon Haul, and then let whoever wants to buy it, buy it.
Yeah. And
they get more for it. For it. For it.
That train of thought came back. The one thing that they have interesting is they've got a $3 if they have closeout items, so to speak. So Amazon now has like a clearance section, even more than like Amazon warehouse. And so if it's like $3, it is non-refundable. Like if it's in that category, you cannot return it, and you still have to pay for shipping. And so that's where they're going to do all of their get rid of the crap that's filling up all their warehouse stuff.
Give it to those people who want $3 items.
Uh-huh.
Because that's quality right there.
Yeah, or it's sitting in shipping containers still out. I'd love to see a satellite photo of just outside of China of all the containers. Are they still there? Are all those shipping containers?
Give me all your fidget spinners.
Just wait till we get all those tariffs.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. They need to do it quickly.
Right.
All right. So next, we're going to talk about IPOs, and as he loves to say, baby. That is Daniel. He says, and he loves to say are back. So IPOs are back, baby, is how he titled this one. And he used an example. And plus, he came from Goldman. So, I mean, they love IPOs. They love to manage them and make tons of money off of them because they deal with the wealthy. And so IPOs are back, which also to me means M&A, mergers and acquisitions. All of that is about to take place again, because finally in our banking system, they decided, okay, we give up. It's basically inflation is going to be about right here, and we'll just deal with it. So it's giving everybody the go, because they've been waiting for a couple of years now, right? To get back into these IPOs. They kind of took a couple of years off, and all these companies have been waiting, just like Klarna, which is a Swedish buy now, pay later. What could go wrong with that? Buy now, pay later, going into Christmas. I mean, I'm sure
Rent
nothing will
center?
happen.
What?
That's right.
Blockbuster?
So they did file.
Huh? What?
Yeah. So they filed their finally filed their documents. Like, a little sidebar on that is it's a Swedish company and they filed in America. They did not file in Sweden or Europe or UK, which is kind of creating some bad blood a little bit. That's like, why didn't you list here in the UK? And I think we all know why, because the money's all here. There were some examples like before. I'll have to look at my notes now on this one, but like Minecraft was Swedish and went to Microsoft. King, which had a bunch of mobile games, which I'm sure I played a couple of them. I just don't remember the names of them. That went to Activision Blizzard.
Candy Crush.
And
Candy
yeah,
Crush.
there you go. That's yeah, exactly. And then iZettle went to PayPal. So they're used to any of those companies over there coming over and listing here in the U.S. market. Why is that, Royce? Why do they come here?
Oh, that's an easy.
I know I'm lofting it, but
well, typically, the reason that they actually do it here is so that way they don't have to repatriate their money. Anytime money comes into the United States, there's a tax for bringing money into the United States. If the money starts here, you don't have to bring it back on soil. It's already on soil. So it makes it easier to spend, easier to grow, easier. Basically, you cut something out of your bottom line just by setting it up in the United States. So that's just a smart move, especially if you're going to be on our stock exchange. Why basically you literally are losing price dollar points on your actual IPO on your actual stock if you have to also pay to get that money into the United States to even spend it. So it's just a smart move.
Gotcha.
It's the same reason why people set up companies in Delaware. You don't live in Delaware. No one lives in Delaware.
Oh, they all do.
Nonetheless.
Yes. I looked at F-13s. Yes. Everything's in Delaware. There's a lot in New Jersey, and then there's Nevada, too. It's like if you look and see where they all are.
Depending on what you're needing.
Yes, exactly. It's all to make more money on the whether... Anyway, I won't get into that. I mean, why would someone go to bed? All right, so
you, sir? Do I have to
maybe, please? I'm just kidding.
I will say there's also another interesting.
I'm not a celebrity.
About them actually listing it. Like, first of all, going public, and second of all, going public in the U.S. is like one thing that Klarna does. I mean, I'm sure that if you've shopped for anything that's over $20, that you have seen an option for Klarna. And you get it. I mean, how many times we've talked about how bad the debt is getting in the U.S. And one of the things that a lot of banks are concerned about is what they refer to as like phantom debt. And it's the debt that they can't really track because A, it's not debt that's in-house, and B, it's some overseas debt. And then you compound that when you add on like people paying, using credit cards to pay off debt even further. So you're just stacking debt on top of debt. And so it's kind of a double-edged sword because you're going to have a lot of people in the US with mounting debt that we have. And I'm going to keep using that word debt because holy crap. We are amassing a large amount of debt. It's getting worse, and the wage gap and everything, and the wealth disparity. And then, but the point I was trying to make is that one thing that I hope it's going to help with is a little bit of transparency with that phantom debt. Because if you've got a publicly traded company, your numbers are a little bit more visible. So maybe they can help track, how much consumer debt are Americans really racking up. And I kind of feel like that number is going to be a little bit more shocking than we thought.
Yeah, we'll never hear that real number. Never.
Oh, well.
I'm serious. We won't. Even Fred won't reflect it. The report's there. I have another thing to add with that, especially going through Christmas. I mean, they're setting this up to be this way, is that people are hurting. So they're going to have to go the buy now, pay later route. And they're going to have to go with, if anybody's offering me a credit, and I'm not going to look at the 30% that's in the paperwork in small print, I'm going to take it. I'm going to go ahead and take that while I'm still being offered it before my credit score, because I go bankrupt, gets so low that nobody will be offering me credit. So the way I see it is that people are going, like when they get those calls about, hey, I've got $40,000 for you, they're, instead of hanging up, they're going to say, okay, and you're going to have a ton more after Christmas with the debt blues is what we'll call it. Because I mean, if you were about to be told that you can't have any credit at all because you're about to have to declare bankruptcy, what are you going to do? You're going to go out there, you're going to grab as much credit as you can, no matter what the percentage is, just to get through Christmas. Am I wrong, Royce?
Yes. That is
Okay, go ahead.
That is not a responsible way to handle your
When
money.
does responsibility have anything to do with what happens? Responsibility is not a precursor to what actually happens.
First off, let's talk about FICO, right? And that FICO score,
all right?
Oh boy, okay.
Every time you basically apply for credit, it hurts your credit, right? And any line of credit that's less than 3 years actually hurts your credit, no matter what you have turned on or turned off. You can be maxed out or sitting at 0. The fact that you apply within the last 3 years hurts your FICO score, right? So the best thing that you can do to basically fix or increase your credit worthiness, get rid of cards that are less than 3 years old. Pay them off. You don't have to pay off the old ones. You can pay off the newer ones, and literally just dropping new credit will make your score go up by 20, 30, 50 points.
I did it after you said it and recommended it. I did that exact thing, but that's not what we're talking about here. I'm talking about desperate people going into Christmas.
Yeah, so ever heard of
They're not trying to get their credit score better.
Like the Great Depression. Let's go rack up all this debt.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're talking about fiscal responsibility, and that's not a term that I think the vast majority of Americans are,
because you gotta have Christmas, right?
Or practice. I mean, you look at all of this debt that's been racked up, and I think the average credit card interest rate is at the highest ever been at like 22 or 23%.
Yeah, I've actually seen some things in the mail. It's like 34.99%. And I'm like, who would do that?
Like either we need to open up an arbitrage credit card, or I'm going to start loaning out some of my money at 20, 30% interest rate.
That would not be bad. You're already a banker, so I mean, you should do that.
Right.
Also, basically, credit card companies are getting smarter too, by the way, because saying exactly what you said, people are not being fiscally responsible, right? They are saying, you know what? You've been with us for 10 years. You have a $30,000 limit. Let's lower that by about 10. Now you got a $20,000 limit. You're good, right? It's like
no, but the ones that, but typically with credit cards, the ones that carry the debt longer,
But that's what I'm saying. So, like, say for example, you're up to your 20 and you have a limit of 30. They will literally reduce your credit down to the 20 to make sure that you can't accrue anymore, just to blow the doors off of it, right? And them lowering the amount of credit available to you hurts your credit score too, because you have less available credit room to be credit worthy.
Well, and another point to piggyback off this, or to go circle back to Klarna. Klarna is the worst of both of those because A, you can rack up however much debt, and B, like payment schedules don't report to your credit. Like, so you amass all of the debt and you get none of the financial benefits or the FICO specific benefits.
Oh, wow.
Well, and you also don't get the bad part of it either, because I mean, that's why a firm had issues, and they still do. I still think we're going to wait. That's a shoe ready to fall. And then you're going to pull all these other people that are doing it. And the reason they're doing it is because that's what US is about. It's the credit economy, right? And they need more people to go into debt so that they can show on their books that they have, this person has 50K debt to us. So that's basically like an asset for us. So that's what they're doing going through to Christmas. And I'm telling you, Russia, Ukraine is not the only black swan that's flying his little feathers out there. This is already shown in Fred reports how this is the most debt delinquencies I think it's ever. I said think. That means it's not necessarily the truth.
It's not confirmed yet.
Go look at your Fred reports, FRED, all capitals, and I believe it's the St. Louis Fred that reports this one. But go in there and search for delinquencies, and you're going to be amazed. It'll be fun for you to see, or scary, whichever way you look at it. But I mean, this is it. This is this time of year, and it's just like everybody's going to party like it's 2099 or whatever, just because they have no choice. I mean, the wealth gap is absolutely killing us. The rich are getting richer, and the poor are getting poorer, and the middle class is getting squeezed. And here we go. Let's don't do all doom and gloom though. Let's Let's
What? You
smile.
want to pull back now? I mean,
Yeah.
That's the fun stuff.
But the banks have had to allot more money to account for the credit default that they know is going to happen. So, and it was in the last reports. And there's always a discrepancy, in my opinion, of what they report versus what reality is. Just like the inflation
remember
rate.
once they remove that reserve on the banks where they don't have to hold any of your money on hand, and all they just say, hey, go talk to FDIC, right?
Yep.
They don't have to give you a dime. Every single account that you own, you technically don't, with the current policy that's in place for banks.
You mean the FDIC guy that's leaving?
No comment.
He announced it. All right. There's a lot of people leaving. It's like, I'm going to get out of here before everybody finds out what really happened.
Like, I did a good job. Here, come on, and here's the next sucker.
SEC guy leaving. I mean, come on. It's all about it's about to go down. What was that?
Is that the Benjamins?
Well, yeah. That's another song. But was it Pitbull? It's about to go down. All right. And Kesha. That's what it was. Kesha. All right. We always got to do some music references in here. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the fact that we are finally accepting inflation. At least that's Daniel's perception. And I don't think we're necessarily, I think they can admit that they were wrong. I mean, so they're going to say that this is the new normal. I think that's what I keep hearing. That's the words I keep hearing.
Remember when I said that a few weeks ago? New normal.
Oh, yeah, they've been saying it. Yeah. And so it's like, we were kidding, just kidding. Really, the number we're reaching for is threes. I mean, it's crazy, and that's even if those numbers are real. And I'm going to say that every freaking time. All right, banker, what do you got to say about inflation right now? And if first of all, if you think the numbers are real, and then second, if you think we're stuck here and we may have to start doing some cuts next year. I mean, some raises next year.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a lot of mixed signals because you got, like, I think Michelle or what's her name that came out earlier today and was kind of giving a little bit more hawkish comments than what had been previously passed down. And then you look at the expected rate cuts throughout the end of the year are now from like 55% down to like 30-ish% after she came out and said, hey, we don't think that inflation is actually under control. Then again, you go back to like who just got elected and a lot of the policies that he is wanting to enact very early and very aggressively are really going to make inflation worse before it gets better. And I think that's kind of one.
Why do you think that?
I
said, why do you think that? Just curious.
Well, if you just look at depending on like which particular inflation you're looking at, I'm looking at like real world inflation, just the very price of goods going up. And that's what tariffs do at first. They're going to make things worse before things get better. And prices are going to go up. And so that's going to create,
Worse for whom? Worse for the country that's trying to import stuff into the U.S.? Worse for the consumer who's trying to buy?
Worse for the consumer who's trying to buy. The cost of goods are going to go up. You look at core inflation actually wasn't down. I think Daniel made the point of it like stayed flat and everybody was like, oh, yay, that's great. So the market's actually already kind of expecting inflation to rise just a little bit. And then you got, what's her name, that came out and said, hey, we don't think we've really got inflation completely under control. So we're not expecting, comes in hawkish, and we're not expecting rates to actually get cut by the end of the year.
Prices went up by 0.2% in October. And the biggest thing, which I hate when they do this, food and shelter. It's like, most of us here, that's what matters. That's the big thing out of our checks every month. And it's food and shelter. And it's like they want that to be, don't listen to that part. Look at this. Look at this shiny thing over here. Just don't worry about that. So, and I don't think shelter is going to go anywhere anytime soon. I mean, there's plenty of evidence on that. So, and waiting for that to blow up. And then the other thing was Powell. Powell also said that he kind of pulled back and said that, well, who's in a hurry? Who's in a hurry to lower the rates? And that's when I remember the market started going down again. So now you've got another, I didn't know about today's hawkish comment, but it's all set up anyway and planned out in a play. So the one today, I guess, said that too. You said Michelle did. And it's all about food and shelter, man. Food and shelter.
I mean, the things that actually matter, like what you would consider essentials and necessities are, yes.
They don't want to talk about that though.
None of that has come down except for, you've got like, I think food prices came down maybe like 1% this year or something like that. But then when you compare to how outrageous the prices have been coming into early this year, like 1% is really not a significant number that's going to make any kind of impact to anybody's wallet.
Yeah.
No. And then some categories, of course, are still going up. So it depends on what you're buying too. I mean, you can lower the prices of things that don't matter because of supply and demand, and then you can keep raising the prices of things that people are actually buying, and you're still screwed. So I mean, that's what they're doing. They're just manipulating every single number they can. Go ahead, Royce.
Well, no problem. So basically, I sit on two sides of this fence because basically, as an economist, it's sort of like, okay, if you put tariffs on things that are coming into the country, and basically you monopolize on the people who are currently living here. Like, for example, did you know that there are actually programs out there to prevent people from farming land that they own? The government is paying them on a monthly basis to not produce food, so that way they do not mess with the supply and demand curve. By putting tariffs on things that are coming into the country, it basically allows these guys that they were previously saying don't do it, to gives them the go ahead to go ahead and do it, right? Because basically we would rather buy it from you, we're buying American, versus basically letting people come in and take part of our market share. So I mean, it has a double effect. So you're going to get more supply here that should drive down the prices and actually make them where it's more affordable for the people in the country, and the people who were previously making money off of us, it's going to hurt their GDP.
But that actually kind of proves my point. You're going to get a lot. Yes, it eventually is going to go down. And again, eventually prices are going to go down if tariffs, if they actually happen and they're not just a veiled threat, and B, if they actually work. But at the first,
right at the beginning, you're talking about go down versus eventually go down.
Because just exactly what you just said, like all of these people are basically told not to do things. It's going to take a minute for them to get the infrastructure to get things back up and running, and all, or even the ones that aren't currently operating, like how many people, like how much upfront costs it takes to get something up and running. And those.
But what about the people who are already existing that are already producing those goods?
We're at high interest rates, so it's not like they can just borrow.
No, but you remember Trump, his last term, did do that. He put a lot of money in farmers' hands. I remember programs that he had to do that way when he was doing the tariffs in China. I remember that happening.
So because basically the people who are already set up, they benefit from it immediately because their goods that are ready to sell, they can even mark their goods up in value and still be cheaper than the tariffs.
And that's assuming that these major corporations that have had record profits and things like that aren't just going to sit on these new high prices and are going to somehow magically agree to reduce those prices.
Like the last 3 years?
See, you're forgetting the magic word. Ready for the magic word? Subsidy. Say it with me.
That's what it is. There was farm subsidies. Exactly. That's what Trump did last time.
An anti-government administration is going to enact government subsidies.
Yeah,
like literally the guy, we haven't even gotten to the Musk point yet, but this dude is literally like, cut all the subsidies. I don't care. I'm going to roll in and I'm going to reduce the government. I don't see how subsidies are going to be something that's high on the list of priorities.
Well, it has to be. Otherwise, if subsidies are not high, then basically the barrier to entry will be too high for some, if not most, that are currently not equipped to do this. If we need to basically, like, for example, if we're going to raise these tariffs and we're going to raise these tariffs December, right? Those people like, hey, we're going to put out programs starting in August saying, hey, make sure you have your money before December. Otherwise, you won't get to play with the rest of us. Right? It all builds up. And basically the people who pay attention, the early adopters, it's always the early adopters who win.
Well, let me throw something in there. If I'll do,
Lob
for example.
grenade.
Yeah. I'm just pulling my hat back on again, like I ever take it off. But if you'll remember, there's this fine gentleman that bought up a lot of farmland over the last I don't know 5-7 years. His last name is Gates. So let's just see what happens there.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's solar. Here's EV.
If you want to go dig down a hole, just look at Google Bill Gates and farmland together. See what you
find. We don't have enough time for that one.
No, we don't. What
about Elon Musk trying to buy the Ford Motor Company?
Okay, very good. We're about to move into that. So let's just go ahead and move to the next subject, which is Elon playing chess. Right. That is the way that's what it's titled. And we do know that Elon is part of the government efficiency, along with Vivek, or is it Vivek? I don't know.
Department of Government Efficiency, Doge.
Yeah, Doge.
There's no coincidence. That's one of his coins.
Right. And you already hinted, Josh, to the fact that as far as I think they're taking away the EV credits, and that basically, like you said, that Musk said that all subsidies should be ended. And as we've talked about before already, that some of the departments should be ended. And so all these jobs that have been piled up and really trying to cushion the employment numbers over the last 4 years, they're looking at every single one of them to see what happens from there. But just let's get both of your opinions on, besides SpaceX and Tesla, be more specific on how Tesla and Elon are going to benefit from this. So we'll start with you, Josh, and then we'll do Royce.
No, that one's pretty easy.
Yeah,
he's one of the only EV makers that's actually profitable. And all of the other auto manufacturers are penalized because with this, how those government credits work, that 7,500 credit that everybody was getting, how that works is a lot of these other auto manufacturers are actually having to pay the government in penalties for producing more gas-powered vehicles than they are electric vehicles, even though gas-powered vehicles are exponentially more profitable. I looked it up. Hang on, So Tesla has posted $4.5 billion in profit. Of those, $2 billion are coming from the government required credits. He's one of the few that is actually profitable. These other auto manufacturers with their razor thin EV margins, or if they even have an EV margin, and it's not just they're pouring into debt to make this EV market happen that was pushed so hard by the last administration, they're going to get nuked. That's probably a terrible term to use.
And cancel.
Speaking of long range missiles.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to go there. They're going to struggle financially. They're going to go further into debt. They're going to have to pour more and more money into their EV market, which is just going to hurt their overall profitability. And it's just going to you got to think of ones I love Lucid. That's a cool looking car. You get Rivian. That truck is awesome. The Tesla truck. What?
Come on.
Oh, dude.
I drive it.
I've driven one.
No.
Anyways, it's nice off road though.
The financials are obvious. It would essentially destroy probably 90% of his competition.
Yeah.
Right. Do you see Tesla ever going? This is kind of a one-off. Do you see them ever going to a hybrid? Because it seems like maybe that would be a big new way to go. Instead of all the way, just do a hybrid.
I've not really thought about it, but honestly,
look me up, Elon. You and me talk, Elon. Come on, I got this.
Trump, Trump loves gas-powered vehicles. Elon loves EVs. They
got a lot of built-up inventory in oil right now,
and they apparently love each other. So, maybe they'll have a hybrid baby.
Who knows? Royce, did you want to add anything to to that
Ooh,
before we
I
get
got
to
it
the... I knew you
totally.
did. He's just over there,
Let's
just
go.
bubbling, waiting.
Let's go. All right.
Floor is yours.
First off, Tesla versus Tesla Motors. It was a very strategic move for him to change the name from Tesla Motors to Tesla. Basically, that means he's trying to tell the world he is not just an EV manufacturer, right? I think that Tesla basically has a bigger plan, like to be sort of like an MLGW, Tennessee Power and Light, but it's trying to basically become a power distribution center and basically maybe providing power across the globe. There are, I want to say, 5 or 6 mega factories out there, and who knows what everything that they're working on. The big push, in my opinion, by Elon basically playing these games of chess where he's, okay, let me get in good with the government. Let me get these guys to give me credits. He's networking. He's making sure that he's maintaining his cash flow, and he's also pushing their agenda, which now this is my hat. Ready? Basically, I still say, if we're going to have an Air Force, a Marines, an Army, a Navy, that Space Force will need fuel. That Space Force will need oil. So if you can push the planet to be as electric or wind or whatever dependent, where it's not having to use its fossil fuels, you can use the fossil fuels to get into the space race.
Okay. Is that all you got?
For now, like just in the same way we had only gas-powered vehicles and then electric was shunned, and now we've got...
No, it wasn't shunned. It was outright silenced.
Right.
There have been 3 times in history that electric vehicles have come out and someone bought them. Ford Motor Company actually bought and silenced one of the first electric cars. Then General Motors in the late 70s did the same thing. And then in the early 90s, there was a hydroelectric car that ran on water. Once again, bought the patent, put it on the shelf. Yeah, we're not going to let that out. Sorry about that.
Right.
I mean, but it's going to eventually advance into some other form of energy, like you said. I mean, it's not always going to be based on fossil fuels, because fossil fuels have there's a finite number of fossil fuels. You can.
Well, I do know that
something that's renewable, like electric, nuclear, whatever it is that we're going to discover in the next 20 years. Yeah. Some other source of energy is going to be out there, and so
on the moon or wherever Mars,
fossil fuels to nuclear, put it in a closed loop system where you can basically, it doesn't burn energy, it recycles it.
I mean, wouldn't that be, again, you still have the rules of conservation.
Yeah, but it's in a closed system, so it's sort of like treading water in a pool. If it's constantly circling around in the loop, that's the motion that's actually propelling it forward. It's not actually, there's no thrust to it. It's its own motion that's propelling it.
They've been trying perpetual energy, I guess.
They've been trying that for 100 years. Physics has not allowed
and science just gets better and smaller every year.
Physics has not allowed it.
All right, the last thing
to physics, but GE was able to pull it off with their Freelium idea. Basically, for years, not to mean like the better part of 50 to 60 years, MRI machines, right?
Mm-hmm.
They ran completely on helium. So much that basically MRI started to cost tens of thousands of dollars, because helium is not a infinite resource. It's very finite on this planet. GE figured out how to make it a closed loop system that you could continually reuse that helium and do as many MRIs as you want. Basically taking the cost of an MRI from tens of thousands of dollars to maybe $15, $20, because all at this point it is an X-ray.
Yeah, but not to get too sciencey for a financial podcast, but yeah, I mean that's enclosed. Like that's literally, it's propulsion. Like the propulsion is encapsulated. So,
but that's all a nuclear physics, fission reacts. Basically, you make the atoms go so fast that they collide back into each other.
But that wouldn't propel anything in an open environment.
That's how you get a nuclear bomb. I mean, that's literally the definition of a nuclear bomb. And think about the energy that's created from a nuclear bomb. They're an infinite amount, not infinite, but so much that basically, yeah, you can definitely, if you can harness it, you have a lot that you can do with that.
All right. For the sake of not another 30 minutes on this, and
I'll digest that when I get back
we
to you.
don't have Elon yet on the. If he came in, he probably could add a lot of light to it or
He's
energy
like,
to the subject.
That guy Royce, he's smart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, you got his number, Royce. Give it a call.
All right,
But
hold
yeah,
on,
I mean,
like,
exactly. That's right. Give him the link. Give him the link. But yeah,
that would be funny.
Just going back, by the way, with the whole the manufacturers have admitted defeat and they're pulling back on their inventories. And I think what it's going to come down to is all these mandates that were done before about by 2030, you better all be X amount % of EVs. They'll keep them in states like California, but then each state's going to have their own opinion on that and be able to make decisions on what their mandates will be, or if there'll even be mandates on what EVs have to be produced. So I think
Trump's
we're going to
already
go
returning to state individuality, and then a lot
exactly.
of I even heard earlier today, literally, that over in the UK, Ford is firing or laying off 1,500 of their workers.
All of the manufacturers
over in the UK, and
Volkswagen are all doing it.
They have already considered pushing back that 2030 mandate to 2035.
Yep. You got to keep it out there because you got to still make money off of the whole narrative. But yeah, they'll go from 2030 to 2035 because guess what happened? Oops, an administration that wasn't supposed to be in got put in. So we got to delay it for at least 4 years to continue going on with it. All right.
Who's going to be the new vice president?
I'm just trying to represent both sides here.
That new vice president, he's like, I'm young, let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, 2028, let's go.
All right, let's get us out of this whole thing, Royce, before something hits us. Let's bring out the crayons. What are we going to look at today? Let me go ahead and get the screen up that Josh loves so well, evidently.
All right,
this is Crayons and Charts. After the bell with Royce Wells.
Yeah, let me turn back on all of the goodness. That is the Arbitrage man.
Looking at Super Microcomputer.
All
right, before we get into this though, I gotta discuss. I gotta take care of accounting issues here. So it had a problem, right? Super Micro with accounting?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I follow the charts.
Yeah.
There's that split I was looking for. There was a 10-to-1 split. I was looking at this. I was like, wasn't this guy just $300 to $400 recently? But that 10-to-1 split definitely makes more sense now at the beginning of October. All right. So the question is, what we're looking at, this is Super Micro Computers. It's trying very hard to move into a new buy trend. And I say that because the trend top is slowly approaching that black line. Let me see where we are with this new indicator. This is called Arbitrage Retrace, new indicator. And basically what this indicator measures is basically if probability will expand or contract. As long as we basically stay within the lines, things are getting bigger to go outside the lines, it will allow probability to actually expand. So from where we are and what we're seeing here, looks like it should pivot off of this orange line at the bottom, allowing us to continue to push up. So overall, I'm thinking this guy might be something to add to your wish list or your Christmas list, because I'm thinking in the next few months, so like a Netflix and chill option that we did all the way back when, right? I'm thinking, let me see where 3 deviations on this guy looks like it's high numbers. It's like 145, 112, 113, even $78. So hey, who doesn't want a 200% return if you're just patient enough to wait? Yeah, $78 is where it runs out of room on the arbitrage band. So if you're thinking about buying it, now might be as good a time as any. With NVIDIA slowing down, maybe this is the next one to take the reins and push the NASDAQ just a little bit higher. That's all I got.
All right, so I will add on what I was going to say, which is that Supermicro has had an issue. Their auditor quit because he said that the accounting was so bad that he just got out of there. I guess before they actually get audited by a real person, I don't know. But
once again, it's all a part of the show.
Well, it is, but then
bad news out there, so no one wants you, and then watch it skyrocket. When everyone's afraid to buy, that's when you buy.
Or it could be an excuse to take Nvidia down. So here's what happened is no, I'm serious. I mean, because it's going to have to come back down. And Nvidia eventually is going to have to. So I mean, what better excuse than for Supermicro?
What makes it has to? What has to make it come back down?
It's not going to keep going up into the right. We'll disagree on that. And he's going to pull it up now. But hold on, let me finish my thought though. Then you can have everything you want there. BDO is a company that's an auditor, and they're noted for the worst one ever, and very shady. And that's who they announced. At least the media announced as being their new auditor. But when you look at the actual, because that's when it popped, it was right after that was announced that they found an auditor and they have plans in place. Mm-hmm. But then if you go and look at the fine print of their filing, they actually had not signed with that auditor, and BDO was denying the fact that they had. So there was that pomp. And now that NVIDIA's ER is over, I think we're going to see something next week, but I could be wrong. This is not going to be our pick of the week, is it?
Oh,
no, because we've already had it.
Oh, no, no. I just wanted to see where NVIDIA was. Yeah, NVIDIA's going nowhere. You're on crack.
You don't think a black swan would take it down? They got to get it from somewhere. You don't think they'll take NVIDIA out?
Just from the retrace indicator on our monthly time frame, it's going to keep expanding probability. And as long as probability is expanding, it can go up indefinitely.
What's the channel right now? What's
the
channel? I know where it's doing it.
So basically, it looks like it has a top out about 160. We're at 144 right now. So as long as it doesn't push and get to 160 anytime in the very near future, it can keep expanding roughly at a rate of about $10 to $15 per month.
Okay. All right.
That was the fact that I can now say that.
That was After the Bell, Crayons in Charts with Royce Wells, speaking on Supermicro SMCI. Mm-hmm. And so now let's go ahead and talk about the next one, which I think you were deciding. I think we found a good one. But first of all, last week, Daniel, which is not here to celebrate.
Very topical.
He did win. Daniel won, and he had the lowest range because Royce correctly picked out the channel. He said 260, I believe, was up to 300. What was it? Let me see if I can find the notes. 306.
McDonald's.
So it stuck down. McDonald's. Thank you. It was in my channel like it always does for the first half of the week, and then all of a sudden we had this huge red. We had this huge red.
Day after day.
See that huge red candle from hell? You see it right there? It looks bigger if you expand out the price. But it
so that's
took
how
me
you
way out of the zone. See, there it goes. See, look at that. Look at that. And then it stayed below me the rest of the week until so Daniel had it in place. I'll go ahead and bring the scorecard up, and you'll see that apes remained at 5. Now Daniel with the wind has 2 basically total and adds 2 Royce's 4, which gives them 6. So the quantitudes are up 6-5 with the win by Daniel last week. The thing that worries me though is with Daniel absent, Royce will be able to not only pick the stock but also decide who's going to go, and we'll see if he's a fair boss or not on the second pick. Right. We'll go back to and so I'll pull up the Crayons and Charts after the bell. What is the stock we're doing, Royce?
We are currently playing with FICO, as in that Fair Isaac Corporation.
Remember you said that earlier in the show, but you're talking about FICO scores, and now we're doing FICO stock. I just thought that was kind of fun. All right, go ahead.
Isn't that right? Isn't that? So looks like FICO is almost near an all-time high. Basically, an all-time high being November the 8th, slightly after the election. Imagine that. And this is on the daily time frame. Looking at this where we are, let's basically expand this guy down to see where we can go. Basically, how bad can bad get, right? We're sitting on the edge of probability, on the edge of all the bands on the daily time frame with literally nowhere to go. It could potentially get back up to 2609, potentially somewhere within the next 2 to 3 months. But the downside is a whole lot lower. So we're sitting at about 2309 currently, with a floor somewhere near. Oh my gosh, that makes you want to. All right, 17. Let's go with the trend top and trend bottom. Let's go with 1747. That's almost a 600 point fall. That could happen in the very, very near future, like within the next 3 to 4 months. So, hey, like I said, it can still get as high as 26, but it also can fall as low as 17,900. We have about a $25 range on this silliness, basically going to roughly 2,400 all the way. No, I'm sorry. Is that right? No, that's right. That's wrong. We got a $50 range. This is silly. Yeah, so let's go from about 2,200 to about 2,400. And since we're sitting at 2,309, I am going to block out the lower half for me and Daniel. Everything underneath 2,300.
Of course.
You got to be specific though for individual highlights.
2,300 and then 2,250 to 2,200. How about that?
So 2,300 down to 2,250, and then 2,250 down to 2,200.
Yep, and I'm going to take the upper 50. So that way Daniel can win again.
All right, so we got Royce. Royce is basically 2,250 and up.
Mm-hmm.
250. I write this down so we don't have to ask each other later.
I got to get him past Josh's score. He has to have as many points as Josh, if not more.
I mean, you're literally extremely handicapped on this one. Like that is.
So you're gonna who's
evil,
going
right?
next? Yeah, he hey, when we win again, we've got to block them out now. We got to repay their kindness.
If they keep doing this, we're never gonna win.
That's not true. We broke out before
last week.
We broke out before. All right. I got to recap this, by the way.
And just for the record, you guys won the last 2 weeks. What are you talking about?
Okay, so who's going next?
I'm gonna I'll let Josh go.
Of course you will.
I like making Darren last because
I've got some long range missiles that can come from out of this studio and go over the wall.
All right, I'll just take the one just above.
All right, so that's 2,200 to 2,150, right?
Okay.
And I get 2,150 and below.
2,300 to 2,350, and then you get 2,350 up.
Oh, we're going the opposite way then.
Yeah, you guys. I gave you the upper. Right. Hey, if it's going to go up, you guys have that option.
All right, so I got to redo this then. I'll do this actually afterwards, so we don't, sit here and make great TV by us just going back and forth off of this. But yeah, congratulations there. It might be our last win ever. Good job, Daniel. And
he's up to 2. He's up to 3 total over 2 seasons.
I know, and I'm I'm falling behind now again. So I've got to get back whenever I have that opportunity. But that's what's been frustrating is I will end up in the zone and then end of the week. Nope, no more. See ya. Bye.
I don't even.
All right, guys.
This time.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and we're past. Boy, this is gonna be one of those longer ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll have to cut it up 3 times to get it into Opus. All right. I just revealed who we use. I'm not in Opus. If you want to sponsor us, go right ahead. All right, guys. Let's see if we're not in the middle of a World War III. I guess we'll still have our After the Bell next Wednesday.
Nope, they'll cancel the internet. It's all canceled. You're done.
All right, guys. Everybody. Goodbye. See you next week.
See you next week.